Can we go a little more into that first month, I think you said, or month and a half to getting your first client, like what your strategies were? Because I imagine you're brand new starting out on Twitter. You don't have a following, but you're going to start posting, you're going to start DMing people, but you don't really have the credibility behind you. So what did you do to land that first client? Maybe a little more specifically, the
Yeah.
strategies that you employed.
So two things. One was with regards to credibility, a key way to fast track your credibility is to align yourself with people who are already very well respected. And so what I did was I joined a few mastermind groups and mentorships, which really kind of boosted my credibility there. The other way to build credibility is to work for free. So if you work for free, people don't really need to trust your credibility that much because you're working for free. As long as you're not going into their internal systems and stuff, which the line of work that I'm in, we don't really do that. And so for that, really, it was just a combination of like me doing all those mastermind stuff. But if you work for free, you get like that credibility, you get those initial like trophies from clients, and then you can use those trophies to sign future clients. And initially, it is a lot tougher. Like the first few deals I got, and I'll dive into that in a bit, were a lot worse than the deals I'm getting now, just because people see that you're fresh, they see that you're new, and they don't trust you completely. They feel that they're risking something by working with you. And so the deals are going to be a little bit more unfavorable. That's just kind of how that works. But essentially, the way I did it, I kind of established credibility by joining a bunch of mastermind groups. You have a lot of like key figures that people respect, saying a lot of positive things about you. That's a really good way to build credibility. Then what I did was I just I posted content consistently because that's important. You want to post content talking about the thing that you do, and then I just reached out to people. There's really people often bash on cold DMing and like cold emailing and stuff like that, but the truth is the big companies, they're all doing it. And the only ones that aren't doing it are the ones that have established brands that are so big that they've essentially become utilities that people go to. But outside of that, if you're starting out, like cold is how you're going to get clients. Like you reach out. The first two clients I landed were both off of cold DMs that I sent on Twitter. So that's kind of how that worked. I pinged him. One of them was like a cold inbound kind of hybrid where he had been following my content for a bit, and then so it was more of a warmish DM where I reached out to him. That's how you do it when you're starting out. Now I'll have people come to me inbound, and you have referrals and stuff like that, and that's how you get really really big on the organic side. There's also the paid traffic and all that stuff. If you're starting out, the best way to do it is just cold DM, cold email. You do those two, and you're posting content consistently. You're going to land clients. Now, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of reaching out to people. It is a lot of hopping on sales calls and making mistakes. But you're going to figure it out because it doesn't take rocket science to figure out that the best way to talk to people is to actually care about helping them and to have a really really strong product on the back end. So if you can deliver value to people, people are going to see through that, and they're going to see that. They're going to give you a chance, and it might not be for the amount you want, but early on, you kind of just have to take it on the chin and take what you can get and really see how you can push that to use those opportunities to land even bigger opportunities down the line.
Can you maybe articulate what your initial offer was? I was checking out your website and your current offer. Has it changed a lot or did you start out a little differently?
So initially, I only offered followers. I didn't offer the qualified appointments. Basically said we will get you 10,000 followers. Um, and to actually dive deeper, the very first guy that I signed was essentially like he wasn't even sure I could deliver on the thing. I was barely sure I could deliver on the thing. I was kind of just going off of something that a mentor of mine told me was possible. The mentor told me that he would coach me through the process, but I was still really, really scared. What this guy essentially said was we will split like the payment that you get over five or so payments instead of the normal like half before, half after kind of payment structure. And so like I took an inferior deal to get the opportunity to kind of work with this guy's business and really, really blow it up. But initially it was just that 10,000 follower thing. I'm a huge advocate for like, especially initially. My offer is very unique because it's based on followers and not really revenue generated, but or at least it was. But what I would recommend to a lot of people is to either have some kind of performance based incentive in your offer or have some kind of refund. Like that's very likely to help you land a lot of clients early on because people don't trust you and they really need to feel that the decision is reversible or they're just not going to take that chance to work with you. And so what you want to do is basically say, I'm not going to charge you like a flat fee. I'm going to charge you per appointment booked or per follower milestone hit, which was essentially what I did with my first client. We basically broke it up into 5 follower milestones, the 10,000 followers, and the guy would pay me every 2,000 followers and he could opt out at any time. So that was kind of a way that I was able to get him over the finish line. I now have an amazing case study with him. He recommends me to all his other clients. And so that's something that when you're starting out, it's a very, very powerful way to build a reputation and like get some wins under your belt.
And so that seems, and maybe I don't understand Twitter that well, but
Sure.
getting somebody 10,000 followers, I mean, that seems like that could take a good 3 months, 6 months. Am I accurate, or you say no, I could turn around quicker than that?
Yeah, like 3 months is usually the period we promised people. Getting it faster than that, it's doable. It's tough. It really just depends on kind of the strategy. What I tell people is like if you're trying to rush your follower growth, it's usually a social proof play where you're not trying to become some kind of like overnight influencer because that takes a lot longer to build that up. You're trying to establish credibility for your business so that you can sell some kind of product or service or something along those lines. There is a lot of the camp on Twitter where they say you want to grow without like anything at all, like pure organic, like you just kind of ride this wave up. And that's a totally fine way to do it as well. There are lots of people that have been very successful doing that. You comment on a ton of posts and it takes a bit longer. It'll take that kind of that 6 to 9 months to do it. What we do, we use a lot of like retweets. We use a little bit of Twitter ads, not so much anymore, but you did use a little bit of that, especially for a lot of the lead generation. And we also do have that commenting kind of wheel like in place. Essentially, what that does, it helps people. Basically, people who are just starting out, they can associate with accounts that are much bigger than them. And when that happens, they're able to pick up a lot of followers a lot faster and really get credibility. Once you have the credibility, it's a lot easier to grow. But really, it really just depends on what your goals are. I would even go so far as to say, like, if your goal is to be like a super hardcore influencer that's like super famous, don't even like waste your time on Twitter. Like, post on Twitter, sure, but you can become like a YouTuber, like go on Instagram. You're gonna get way more likes on Instagram. You're gonna get way more views on YouTube long term. And on YouTube, you can even get like the AdSense monetized and stuff. Twitter can work, but I find Twitter is a very community based platform, anyways. So it really just kind of depends on what your goals are. Now, if you're trying to grow your business, you're trying to get leads, that's a totally different story. Twitter is amazing for that. You can see a really fast ROI on that compared to a YouTube, which takes a lot longer to build. It really just depends on what your goals are. And so really like that's kind of how we're able to get results much faster, just getting big networks of people to endorse your tweets, endorse your threads, kind of increase the visibility on them so that more people can actually digest them. Because at the end of the day, any marketing ever in the history of mankind has come down to one thing or two things. It's come down to a quality message and it's come down to lots and lots of traffic. So if you have a quality message and you have lots of traffic on that message, then whatever entity or whatever group is pushing out that message, that group is going to get a lot more potential people who are interested in whatever they are offering, whether it be products, services, like a purpose, whatever it is. That's just how marketing has always worked throughout the test of time.